People think you need to quit your job to grow on YouTube. I work a full-time role in data and still manage to post consistently across platforms. Here's how I make it happen without burning out. What is up? My name is Kevin. I am a civil engineer turned data scientist in the fintech space. But before we talk about how I make it happen, let's first talk about the priorities. So I'd say number one, first and foremost, respect your 9 to 5. Especially if this is your bread and butter, this is your only source of income. You don't want to jeopardize your full-time source of income for a side hustle, even though side hustles are important as well. And as I mentioned earlier, I said respect the 9 to 5. So that means within those core hours, well, actually, I start work at 8 and finish off at 5. And within those core hours, even though I work remotely, I am actually working, and I try and finish off my to-do, my deliverables within those core hours so that after work, I can focus on my side hustles. And I actually have a bit of a productivity system that I follow in order to maximize my production hours during the day. If you want me to do a video on that, just drop a comment below. With that being said, let's talk about now how I productionize this content creation side hustle. And the first one is I want to talk about what can potentially take the most time when doing YouTube videos, and that is the actual scripting. So there is the method of writing out the script yourself, writing it in full sentences and following that script to the T. I found this to be too time consuming. And so what I tend to do is rather stick to bullet points. I'm going to explain why now. So reason number one is that bullet points significantly reduce your script writing time compared to full sentences. And I think obviously very important if you're trying to minimize your content creation preparing stage in order to make the video. So that's number one. Number two is I found that a skill I want to develop is actually
speaking to a camera, articulating myself well, sort of impromptu speaking skills.
And that cannot be developed if I am reading word by word with the script. So that's why I do bullet points. Before we move over to the next section, maybe a bit of a bonus tip is I actually write very broken English bullet points just to make this process go quicker. And then I use ChatGPT to write that into nicely formed bullet points, very quick words just to remind me on what I'm going to talk next. And that's actually how I do my videos. Use bullet points to remind me what comes next, but everything is from here. The second strategic move I use to make this whole content creation process a bit more efficient, I'm going to say a statement, and the statement I wanted to stick with you, but that is you don't have to do everything yourself. And I'll say it again, you don't have to do everything yourself. So as an example, on my side, before I used to do the editing, the video editing in-house, and that was, I would say with video editing, that is probably the most time-consuming task when it comes to content creation, and that was taking up loads of my hours. So what I did was I decided to outsource this task when it comes to content creation. And what that did was it significantly gave me hours of my life back to focus on other things. So that is one tip I want to say, is that if you can afford it, outsource your video editing. What I would say is still learn the basics of video editing, what works, what doesn't work, so that once your editor sends through like a first draft, and you can actually critically look at this and say, is this going to work? Does that work? You know, just the basics, or ask your editor for tips as well. So yeah, outsource what you can, which brings me to my third strategic move when it comes to my content creation workflow. And I will say that this one was an absolute game changer for me, but that is I actually batch similar tasks together. Let's unpack on this. So for example, I always start off with, and this is from YouTube education, but the TTH, so that's the title, the thumbnail, and the hook. I batch that for say 3 to 5 videos, do that in one session, in one sitting. And once that's done, then we move over to the actual body of the content. So the scripting, if you may, but remember, in bullet points. So we get that done in one sitting. So again, 3 to 5 videos I script all together in one session. And once that is done, then I record 3 to 5 videos all at once. And what that ensures is that once those recording sessions are done, I send that to my editor, and then all of a sudden we have content for the next month or so, and I can actually focus on other things in the meantime. As a final thought on this batching strategy that I follow, what I've learned over time is that let's say you're having a sit down, you're doing, let's say 3 videos, right? And the first scripting session that you do, that first video, you'll find that the second one goes quicker than the first one because you've built momentum. And likewise, the third one goes a bit quicker as well. So that momentum building in that sit down really does help as well. Okay, a quick video halftime break to talk about some serious things. Is that if you're enjoying this content and you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Just show some love, hit the subscribe button. It's free and it supports the channel. Anyway, let's move over to the next point. Ooh, hold on. Just as a last point before I talk about my secret weapon, if you may, in this whole making this content creation side hustle very efficient, very, very achievable with a 9 to 5, maybe some context first. I don't just post on YouTube. So I do TikTok, I do LinkedIn, I do Instagram, and I try to keep to a consistent schedule of 3 times a week posting to these platforms. And for YouTube, give or take every 10 days or so. Obviously a lot to manage with my 9 to 5. But now that we've laid the foundation for my secret weapon, if you may, that secret weapon is, in one word, metrical. So what they've helped me do is I can actually plan and schedule my content weeks in advance, but the game changer comes in where you schedule once and it just distributes to all your social media platforms. So I do that for most of my short form content. So that will be TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. And then that is post once and that all distributes to all those 3 platforms. Don't have the LinkedIn feature yet because I'm still on the free plan. Just still testing it out, maximizing its potential before I decide to pay for this thing. And as a disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video
At all. I'm nowhere near that subscriber count or not monetized yet.
yet. But I thought, you know what, let me just mention this tool because it's helped me so much. And I think another extremely cool feature is that you can actually reply to comments from all your platforms, your social media platforms, in one sort of space. And that is on Metricool itself. And so this secret weapon has helped me manage my long form content, my short form content, and my 9 to 5 in a very seamless way. If I were to wrap up and summarize everything I've said, and the key takeaway points in all this is that it is important not to treat your content creation journey as a hobby and just a side thing, but rather as a business. And with a business, what we try to do is productionize it, make it efficient, delegate where needed, and this process becomes a lot more autonomized. All right, folks, and that's a wrap. Now, today we've spoken about the how. But if you want to know more about the why I started this content creation journey, and even why I chose this journey over doing a master's degree, then you will find this video helpful.